Okay, be honest. Do you constantly find yourself running out of phone storage? Or, maybe you've caught yourself endlessly scrolling back to the very first messages you sent someone, just kind of wanting to see how it all started? If you completely refuse to delete your old text threads, like even the ones you literally never look at, well, you are definitely not alone.
Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today we're exploring a seriously fascinating psychological phenomenon, the psychology of digital anchors, and exactly why you keep old texts. We're looking at the hidden reasons behind why you hold on to years, sometimes literally a decade, of digital messages. Most people, they treat their phones like a revolving door of temporary information, right? They just read, reply, and delete without a second thought. But for you, hitting that delete button feels almost impossible. And it turns out, preserving these conversations isn't a bad habit at all. Actually, it's a profound sign of psychological depth.
So there's this stark contrast between what society tells us and what psychology actually reveals. You've probably heard the myth, right? That if you keep all your old texts, you're just a quote unquote digital hoarder who's hopelessly stuck in the past. People might tell you to just hit delete and move on. But the reality? The reality is a whole different story. Psychology shows that this behavior actually proves your brain operates with a rare, profound emotional memory. You aren't crazy and you aren't overly attached. You're actually using these digital archives as deep emotional anchors. All right, so let's look at reason number one, digital object permanence. Now, in traditional psychology, object permanence is basically the understanding that things continue to exist, even when you can't see them. But for highly sensitive people, human connections, like past versions of relationships, or actually even past versions of yourself, they can sometimes feel really fleeting or fragile. When a friendship fades, when a relationship ends, or when someone simply moves away, it can start to feel like that connection never even happened at all. By keeping those text messages, you're holding on to the physical proof that the bond was real. You're fulfilling that psychological need for physical proof that a past relationship or feeling was real, which is what we call digital object permanence. You're not necessarily missing the person, you are validating your own lived experiences in a world where human connections are just incredibly unpredictable. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of this whole concept. The text thread acts as a permanent receipt of your reality. Just think about the weight of that for a second. A permanent receipt of your reality. You might even be one of those people who literally pays for extra cloud storage just to protect conversations from years ago with people you don't even speak to anymore. Why? Because that receipt is untouchable proof that your feelings and those incredibly specific moments in time truly happened. Which brings us to point number two, the emotional time machine. So the absolutely crucial point here is that natural human memory is flawed. It's deeply flawed. Over time, we just naturally forget things. We forget the exact, nuanced phrasing someone used when they first told us they loved us. We totally forget the specific setup of an inside joke that made us laugh uncontrollably until we literally couldn't breathe. The human brain simply can't hold on to every perfect detail on its own, no matter how much we might want it to. But if you're highly observant and possess high cognitive complexity, your brain naturally craves those small, intricate details. You keep those messages because reading the exact words on a screen provides instant emotional teleportation. It instantly transports you back to the precise emotional state of that exact day. It is the absolute closest thing you have to a working time machine. For a deep thinker, having that kind of flawless emotional access to your past is just priceless. Moving on to reason number three, searching for mental closure. Now, if you find yourself holding on to these painful or unresolved threads, you aren't doing it to torture yourself. Highly intelligent people use these texts to safely process complex emotions. You start by analyzing the consequences of the interaction. Then you're searching for missed patterns. And ultimately, you're trying to find logic in emotional chaos. Your brain is quietly searching for those missed details, trying to figure out exactly where things shifted. It's a fundamental drive to find logic in that chaos. Reading old arguments or final conversations is just your advanced inner world trying to naturally solve the puzzle of what went wrong, rather than, just painfully dwelling on the past.
And finally, let's look at point number four, preserving the human connection.
We live in a highly disposable society. Almost everything is meant to vanish in 24 hours. Vanishing videos, expiring stories, people ghosting each other with a single swipe. But the mind of a deep thinker naturally rebels against this shallow way of living. You value preservation over convenience. Instead of treating your phone like a revolving door of temporary information, you collect conversations the exact same way previous generations collected physical photographs. Let's really slow down and take a moment to appreciate this. Behind every digital text bubble is a real human heartbeat. You keep these messages because you deeply respect the weight of human interaction. You don't just consume conversations, you preserve real moments in time that will never, ever happen again. In a super fleeting world, you're basically acting as the historian of your own meaningful connections. So the next time your phone warns you that your storage is almost full, and someone tells you to just clean out your old messages, I want you to remember this explainer. You aren't stuck in the past, and you certainly aren't a digital hoarder. You simply have a mind that refuses to let meaningful moments slip away into nothing. You feel deeply, you remember clearly, and you genuinely value the history of your own life. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder. When you finally look back, what will your digital archive say about the history of your life? Keep exploring the hidden psychology behind the things you do, because understanding your own mind is the greatest advantage you can build.